welcome to your Mercury in Cancer 2024 Transit Talk. We will be looking into the transit of Mercury through Cancer and how this will develop your brain processing function. And as just mentioned, Mercury represents your brain processing function, whereas the Sun will represent your conscious awareness, and Venus, your heart. These celestial organs represented through Mercury will represent your brain processing ability, hence its rulership in Gemini, experimental Gemini, and analytical Virgo. It will be transiting through the sign of Cancer, which is both individual and cardinal, representing the function of feeling, and is the psychic special power of the zodiac. Psychic, of course, pertaining to the power of the mind and your capacity to discern the subtle vibrations that we sense, not through our physical senses, but through our feelings. Hence the irrational nature that with proper integration can align with the logic. Mercury in Cancer will be transiting from June 17th to July 1st of 2024. The dignity it possessed or expressed itself through Gemini activated a new, or rather updated, aspect of your mindset. If you think of this as a yearly update in thoughts that we think to form and activate our general attitude and mindset. And so the mutable perspective switch of Gemini is directing itself through the cardinal function to take these thoughts and manifest the emotions you will fuel this direction in, offering deeper insight as we begin to integrate this nature of your character in order to, of course, prepare to tie together behavioral patterns which integrate the attitudes we have just activated. It's a fancy way of saying you're going to be that much more psychic. The relevant transits that we will be having this Mercury in Cancer transit are as follows. Mercury will sextile Mars in Taurus. It will then square the North Node in Aries. Following that, it will trine Saturn in Pisces. And then it will sextile Uranus in the third decan of Taurus, right before it trines Neptune at the very final degree of Pisces. And as such, that opening sextile to Mars in Taurus opens up the communication between the natural power you are strengthening and manifesting in Taurus, so that this can develop the emotional intelligence relative to, through your emotions, how you express the ideas of the values you are currently acting up on or acting off. This will, through this alignment, actually make very smooth the way this alignment enables you to mix the tangible with the intangible. And as this now follows up with the 90-degree square to the North Node in Aries, this is getting ready to deepen and integrate the direction you think you should be taking on your personal mission, relative to the activation Mercury previously had while it was conjunct the North Node. We are now taking the activation of our thoughts around our authenticity and original approach to integrate deeper insight and wisdom, going beneath the surface, so that through this challenge, we are able to adjust the direction we integrate towards. The moon in Capricorn during this full moon cycle will harvest the understanding which will organize the direction we move into and help us utilize this perspective conversion into a cardinal power of directing your character and thus developing your character. And so this deeper insight will most definitely begin to bring together all the pieces you've activated, adding so much more depth to the mission you've activated a few months prior. This, of course, now in the second decan, aligns with the system of beliefs, aka the integrity of beliefs you have been building in Noah's Ark relative to last year, March of 2023, and has now reached the 19th degree, so that the beliefs you have been organizing together are now communicated and fully expressed in integrating the feelings which express your beliefs. And because of the previous square in Gemini, which had to adjust our thoughts so that they align with our beliefs, now these thoughts are being directed towards emotions where we can feel exactly how our beliefs are getting ready to become reality in the form of behavioral patterns through Virgo. That trine to Saturn will greatly strengthen and empower a lot of what you're thinking and your emotional intelligence, the more integrity is found in these beliefs. And look towards the moon in Pisces to aid in understanding how these beliefs have developed and what might need to change about your beliefs so they are aligned with what you're currently feeling. The opening sextile to Uranus after Saturn tests our beliefs will innovate the natural quality of what we're sensing physiologically, so that this will enhance how much more emotionally intelligently we can discern these emotional nuances, as well as not necessarily take any hits to our ego too personally with that light square to Chiron in Aries. All of this leads up to the finale of the peak 29-degree trine of Neptune and Mercury. Now that we have adjusted this thought process, where previously Venus and Mercury were conjunct 29 degrees Gemini to begin to disillusion us towards any illusions or false beliefs that get in the way of the true information and insights we discovered through Gemini. Now this enables us to, at the maximum level, really process metaphysical phenomena through our imagination that will color in the lines with the depth of emotion at this maximum level. It's important to understand that we've actually done this every single year since 2012. So this is the final level of this, where everything you've experienced intuitively that might have opened the doorway for you to accept a deeper meaning in the taboo and not scientifically accepted mechanic of psychic function to be more real for you than ever, because you're directly experiencing it now. And the disillusionment of Gemini has sorted through what was just in your head and what was an actual function of your brain that you had not yet created or built in until now that you can now experience at the maximum level. This hardcore maximum integration will also put words around how to align these feelings with this max level of supernatural ability. And that brings us the psychic mind integration arc, where we will only be integrating newly developed psychic powers through the new moon, but this will process your intuition more powerfully, as it will enable you to differentiate between what is really just anxiety and fear and what is the intuitive aspect of your mind, your psyche, speaking very clearly to you. As such, this will develop an intuitive language with which we can have faith and trust more, not as some woo-woo spiritual BS, but as a consistent facet of your programming function with which you can have a lot of fun with, and will lead into the creating of psych techniques, which will, of course, through mastery, open the doorway deeper into the supernatural. Aries. Mercury will be transiting your 4th house as an Aries rising, and it will be making a 90 to 120 degree angle to your Aries sun and moon. This marks the beginning of integration for you relative to Mercury's previous transit through Aries, activating the original function of everything you think about who you are and the authenticity with which you express this. It grounded its value through Taurus and activated the general mindset and attitude through Gemini. We're going to apply the shift of perspective that Jupiter is leveling up in your mindset towards a deeper understanding of how sincerely you can express the authenticity of your voice. As such, Mercury will shift elements of your comfort zone before Jupiter fully evolves this next year. And with Venus polishing this, you will be challenged with the squares to your sign of how you can maintain this authenticity while still opening up your emotions to feel and care about other people's concerns. You will gain a whole lot towards communicating in ways that establish what you are comfortable with and who you feel comfortable with. And this will deepen how much more comfortable you can feel in your skin expressing what you truly want to communicate as we apply the evolution of your mindset and attitude relative to where you feel at home and who you feel at home with, communicating this developed intuition through this developed intuition. You may also be excited to realize that the innovation of your value and finances through this transit are immediately allocated relative to how you can already begin to spruce up your home space and to really bring those you want to develop deeper intimacy with into your home, similar to throwing a housewarming party. Taurus, Mercury is going to be transiting your 3rd house of attitude and immediate environment as a Taurus rising, and it will be making a 60 to 90 degree angle to your Taurus sun and moon. This will be developing your intuitive abilities, and relative to the sincere and emotionally intelligent mindset that will be developing, this will enable you to notice more nuances and cues in the ways that you read and analyze people's body language. As mentioned before, this aspect will greatly increase your emotional intelligence, applying the value of your thoughts through Gemini and the shifting of your perspective towards the direction that you will not only feel in, but being able, similar to Scorpio, to say a lot without really saying much at all, to communicate directly and or indirectly through how you feel about situations, which may not really require vocalizing any words per se, but maintaining a certain aura or attitude through, of course, once again, what and how you feel. Given that the third house is the house of abilities and skill sets, Mercury's transit through here in deepening your capacity to be emotionally intelligent and hear the vocal tonality behind what people say. So you're hearing what they feel versus what they tell you. This will allow you to activate psychic skills and abilities, which further discern what is occurring in the moment without you really even needing deductive or inductive reasoning or analysis. Regardless, the sextile that this will be making to Uranus in your sign will innovate a lot of the natural quality of how much more unconventionally you can speak towards what you feel without really even needing context clues, which, if anything, can lead you towards the real detailed analysis of how certain experiences are playing out in front of you. Very great period to develop your mindset and to train your emotions to follow your thoughts as you think good thoughts and think positively to raise the overall mood of yourself and others around you. Gemini. Mercury will be transiting your second house as a Gemini rising and will be making a 30 to 60 degree angle to your Gemini sun and moon. This is going to, I'm just going to be honest, this is going to make you rich, Gemini. Yeah. And you want to make sure that you are fully focused on thinking as if you got it like that. This is deepening the emotional intelligence around everything you feel you are worth. And it is very imperative to apply this expansion of magic you are evolving relative to your thoughts about yourself, so you can convert the thoughts about yourself to everything you feel about the value of who you are and what you're worth. That being said, wrapping your brain around and rewiring your brain around affirming that you feel valuable, that you feel you're worth over $1 trillion will give you immediate results, as you will immediately feel the nature of your confidence empowered, and this will inspire necessary action moving forward. Applying your word magic towards this will also manifest the depth of how much now Mercury in Cancer will think deeper beneath the surface, unveiling any patterns that have to be addressed so that you may get out your own way and develop so much greater the value with which this angle and house will manifest through you. This is also a great period to work on certain projects, as it will enhance your finances and to really express elements of your skills and talents, especially towards services or products that display the exemplary nature of what they're worth through the work that you are quite literally creating. The development of your intuition through this angle will manifest, or rather be put forth to be made so much more real, especially as the planets transit through Virgo, where we will further integrate these perspectives. Cancer. Mercury will be transiting your first house as a Cancer rising, and it will be making a 0 to 30 degree angle to your sun and moon. Hence, you are day spewing. And this is wrapping your brain around everything you feel about who you are. It is also preparing you for next year's Jupiter transit through your sign that will sponsor a level up, similar to passing go and collecting 200. So while you are releasing in Gemini in the 12th house or 330 degrees from your sun or moon, the unconscious thoughts around your beliefs, this will ahead of time apply the shifting of these thoughts towards new feelings that represent how much you've evolved, especially with the squares Mercury and Venus will make to your 10th house with Chiron in the North Node, unlocking this original new direction of success towards you. Cancer is the checkpoint relative to the other eclipse in Libra a few months later that will begin to balance and integrate this shift in your success, which now adds more sincerity, as you are not necessarily the person you were before coming into this new level of success, whereas of now you've already achieved it. So the way you identify yourself will reflect that. And similar to what I've mentioned for other signs, being in a position to be compassionate towards yourself and not be unnecessarily hard will reflect in the intrapersonal communication that you have, as the way with which you develop your psychic power and intuition will reflect the embodiment of everything you feel about who you are. As such, speak affirmations that rewire your brain and express everything that you know and feel you have become. If you feel powerful, constantly tell yourself you feel powerful, you feel successful. I feel amazing. This will work wonders, as you are one of the greatest representatives of the law of assumption, given that Cancer, you are the cardinal function of feelings. And as you know, feeling is the secret. You will gain a lot of insight into wrapping your mind around not only how much you have grown, but how much you're even going to evolve further by the time Zeus makes it to your sign next year. Leo, Mercury is going to be transiting your 12th house, and it will be making a 330 to 360 degree angle to your sun and moon. This requires surrender, as any unconscious habits and beliefs that may self-sabotage or bring up doubt through negative feelings or repressed feelings will not only be brought to the surface, but you will be given greater ability to communicate about and through. Given that the 12th house is a house of hidden enemies, word can get to you from others who are your eyes and ears and show you things about what others have said. Do not take any of this personally. Given the courage and passion that you represent as social royalty, this is preparing for you to release individual feelings about your own beliefs of yourself, especially in applying this change of mindset through the 11th house or that 300 degree angle, so that you can release through this direction of what no longer to feel. Please remember, this aspect and angle is merely preparing for you to debut on the red carpet once all these planets go through Leo. So surrender will definitely be necessary, especially concerning the work you've done through Aries and Taurus to unlock a greater direction as it applies to your philosophical approach towards your identity and the wealth and quality of success your legacy has manifested through Taurus. This, of course, post coming into these new cycles of success, will uplift you out of old beliefs you've had in yourself. As such, Leo, it is very imperative that regardless of what and how you feel, you speak nothing but good things to your subconscious and you think good thoughts. This, once again, would greatly benefit you practicing the law of assumption and playing with certain self-concept ideas. Ask yourself, what is it that you know about yourself to be true, and allow the intuitive guidance of this portal of Mercury processing your brain around old unconscious habits to replace them with new thoughts and beliefs, which will prepare you to establish your identity moving forward, and also prepare you for Jupiter's subsequent transit through Cancer and Leo, which are getting ready to take you to the next level. Virgo, Mercury will be transiting your 11th house as a Virgo rising, and it will be making a 300 to 330 degree angle to your Virgo sun and moon. This represents second stage completion following Mercury's transit in Gemini that has shifted the perception around what you can achieve. Now that Jupiter throughout the rest of the year is leveling up your success and your capacity to spread your message out into the world as the critic you are. Now we are applying this mindset in the house or angle of rewards from career, associates, and friends, aligning the way you communicate and develop your psyche towards like minds who are able to also communicate and connect with you. This might even open up very odd or strange natures of telepathy, where people may not be reading your mind, but be sharing in the same thoughts you're thinking and completing each other's sentences. That's just one example, but not limited to just that. Given that you do represent critical thinking, the critical perspective, and inductive and deductive analysis, you may find that you have the best of both worlds, where you're able to not only deduce information analytically, but also come into phenomena intuitively without the need for detailed analysis or without the need for inductively analyzing your experience. This may open up great confirmation with those who you pick up intuitive insights around and then are able to confirm with your analysis, but will also bring in a sneak peek of the rewards you're set to come into all year and next year. This could be stimulated by connecting with those who you feel belong around you and sharing your true feelings. Mainly with the square to Aries to test who you may still have trust issues with and who doesn't clap when you win, versus who's supporting the direction you are taking this level of victory, as we'll prepare for a subsequent Jupiter cycle in another 3 to 4 months. Libra, Mercury will be transiting your 10th house as rising, and it will be making a 270 to 300 degree angle to your Libra sun and moon. This is the beginning of completing the cycle before we return back to your sign during the eclipse in Libra, and relative to, of course, the previous eclipse in Aries, but just 3 months ago, you are finally completing this cycle, hence wrapping your brain around exactly what to communicate individually to the world around you, and also having you process relative to last year, September and October, the success that you're ready to come into and quite literally drive, which you can now take advantage of by claiming. I haven't necessarily gone too deeply into the law of assumption with certain other signs, but this is definitely a great period to speak what you want to achieve and to feel it as if it's already done. Marking, whether through journaling or real-time experience, the causality between what you're feeling and how this reflects in the application of your mindset towards the actions you take to bring this more into tangible reality. The development of your psychic mind and brain will actually align you with career opportunities led by your intuition, as this is connecting with Neptune and Saturn in your sixth house, quite literally creating your dream life. So now that you are imagineering the lifestyle of your dreams, this Mercury in Cancer enables you to communicate what career success and goals you will be achieving attached to this dream life. And you can gain a whole lot of success by taking proactive action to connect and communicate with authority figures around you who align with your goals. As with the presence of Venus here, as I'll mention in the Venus transit talk, this also opens up a lot of opportunities to be seen and to spread your influence. Regardless, you're completing this cycle, and this will direct what direction or actions you take in order to secure this next level of success in preparation for Jupiter next year that will level up your career entirely. Scorpio, Mercury will be transiting your ninth house as a Scorpio rising and will be making a 240 to 210 degree angle to your sun and or moon. This puts you in a very unique position in the development of your brain towards the expression of your philosophical approach. As you are a representative of wisdom, this will direct the cardinal nature of the sincerity and emotional intelligence that enables you to see into the abstract nature of emotions, which are not in any way physical and represents the double yin of water. And as Venus will be transiting here with this, polishing this aspect, this completes the harvest with which you started in Taurus, applying the strengthened quality physically of the value you bring towards other people in order to direct this through the change of Gemini into the cardinal direction once again that honors the integrity of your attitude relative to how you show others, relative to your feelings, how to lead by example. And concerning that this is a harvest, Mercury will enable to wrap your mind and brain around processing quite literally what this all looks like, as this will prepare you to complete these cycles through Leo, Virgo, and Libra before you come all the way back around to Scorpio. And so this is not only a period to come into updates relative to what you feel around your thoughts, around your philosophy and what you believe, but to practice what you preach and to communicate this, albeit given that it's Cancer, this may not have to be communicated with words per se, but the actions you take which infer this communication. And as such, this will enable you to say so much without saying anything at all. This opens up an ascension of your psychic ability, enabling you to develop power and techniques that at this stage you will be able to demonstrate instead of really argue with anybody. So find ways to continue to update the trust you have in your own psychological nature, so that through this transit, you will be able to spell out the deeper nature of what you feel relative to how much greater you're able to innovate the nature of communicating this all and being able to teach others as a result how not to mess with you. Sagittarius, Mercury will be transiting your 8th house as a Sag rising and will be also making a 210 to 240 degree angle to your Sag sun and moon. This, of course, angle in house represents other people's resources, taking the integral power you have in the 2nd house in Capricorn and now expressing and dealing with others sincerely to reflect the earth power through this water psychic power, drawing necessary boundaries for those who don't respect the integrity of your value. This actually will wire your mind towards investment spaces, relative to who you can trust with your feelings and who can be trusted with your deeper insights. And most importantly, greatly and deeply step you into greater intimacy with those you can trust. This will actually require a bit shifting deeper through your comfort zone, as the angles made to your fourth house of comfort zone in Pisces will now be applying said shifts in your beliefs so that you can direct the nature of your feelings and psyche towards being able to in a much more ascended or powerful way, pick up on nuances and cues relative to perhaps what people don't tell you or what people don't do, which will reveal so much more about what they're about versus what they say and what they do. This will prepare to transform your dealings with others, and the brain processing aspect of Mercury here leads your mind deeper relative to the results of partnership that in Gemini you have begun to evolve, expand, and change, enabling you to communicate so much more clearly towards others. This now opens up not only slight trust issues relative to those who may not really be the most honest with you or open with you, but opens up the opportunity to not only dive deeper with those who you can trust and communicate more deeply with those who you want to build with, but open up a whole lot of wealth for you by the time this comes back around to Capricorn and you effectively return on your investments. Mercury will be transiting your seventh house as a Capricorn rising and be making a 180 to 210 degree angle to your Capricorn sun and or moon. This takes the integrity and power, collective universal power you represent, and express this directly towards other people. The integrity and position you stand on and direct will enable you to express this sincerely, as Cancer represents, and open up your ability to process information as it pertains directly towards others. As such, this develops your own psychic ability very powerfully through others. And relative to Mercury's previous transit in Capricorn, now at this 180 degree or seventh house angle, you are harvesting the effects of the integration through Gemini, applying this enlightened mindset as it applies to your behavioral patterns and lifestyle cardinally and directly towards others, so you can feel the direction that you're meant to move forward with others in. This will now develop your intuitive capabilities through thinking psychically and applying the power of your psyche as you pick up on impressions from other people. And this can open up more experiences of being an empath, but in a way with which you're able to empathically, quite literally, use your brain to process the feelings of others that won't always be readily apparent through what they say, but what you are able to pick up emotionally intelligently with them, or pick up with the emotional intelligence that is gained through communicating directly with other people. As such, this could be developed quite literally by just communicating what you feel towards other people and what you feel about other people. And given that this is the house of open enemies, do expect feelings to be projected towards you so that you can differentiate what of this is based in reality and what of this is just other people being triggered because you got them in their feelings. That being said, be very mindful of not necessarily conflating issues or having other people do that with you, as the seventh house ultimately, or this opposition transit, will actually open the doorway through this harvest for you to connect so much more deeply and intimately with people moving forward. Aquarius, Mercury will be transiting your sixth house as the rising, and it will be making a 150 to 180 degree angle to your sun and or moon. This house of integration is putting together everything you feel about the knowledge you have activated since February. This will increase the potency of your intuition and your ability to think emotionally intelligently by hearing in other people's behavior the vocal tonality, or rather hearing the vocal tonality and how people feel behind what they say, and how that influences one's behavior towards you and from you. The sixth house, or this 150-degree angle of techniques, is integrating your brain's ability to process individually through your emotions, taking the knowledge, the higher celestial knowledge you represent as a celestial, and enabling you to balance intellect with emotion, opening up more nuance relative to how you literally let your own subconscious work for you. As such, this will influence the development of techniques that through this integration provide more consistency and ability for you to trust metaphysical aspects and mechanics of your own brain's function that take, once again, seemingly irrational and non-linear feelings as well as non-linear methods of deducing and analyzing information so that you can make it make sense, basically, for yourself and others. Given the nature of this angle and house, it will be very encouraged to think in a way that applies this development towards your habits, towards your routine, towards the definition of your lifestyle throughout the rest of the year. And it will be very amazing with the sextile to your ruling planet, how this is further innovated so that by the time it goes into your opposition or opposite house in Leo, this will enable you to apply and integrate this change and establishment of a behavioral pattern, given its psychic nature, directly towards others as you prepare to now harvest this all socially. Pisces, Mercury will be transiting your fifth house relative to your rising, and of course 120 to 150 degree angle to your sun and moon. This creative expression expressed through your communication and brain is integrating the capacity of your representation of the abstract and divine, aka your imagination. What Sun in Pisces, Neville Goddard calls God, is expressing itself through the Cancer function of feelings. And as such, this will not only stimulate your creativity through your inner child and the inner child of others, but Cancer, being the individual sign it is, will put words to the direction you feel towards in order to cardinally drive your imagination to be, of course, once again, fueled by the necessary emotions, bringing greater emotional intelligence. And as is the nature of the angle or house, integrate the truth through Gemini towards how you apply that mindset, the thoughts that are the foundation of your beliefs, and press them forward in order to drive those thoughts to produce the necessary emotions. So this is a really great period to express your creative ideas and the passion with which you feel with them, literally playing with your words and allowing your intuition to now develop through the expression of such. And as such, practicing the law of assumption will produce very fruitful results and put you more in a position to quite literally play with this budding sense of your psychic abilities. You being the last zodiac sign at this divine level gives you the final perspective literally outside the veil through extrasensory perception, whether with your sun, moon, or rising, and will, coming from outside the veil, enable you to integrate this aspect of your individuality before this goes into Leo and you begin to socially integrate this mindset and the power of your psyche, putting everything together so that you can add strength and more courage through this creativity. The psychic development and integration of your brain processing function will apply the direction it has developed in towards the social integration and strengthening of courage through Leo. We will immediately begin this transit with the Pluto opposition, giving you an idea of how much more intense this cycle and process is set to be. As such, be mindful of the ways in which you are challenged to quite literally think deeper about yourself and to harness more sincerity from the depth of your character, as Mercury in Leo is taking this megaphone and stepping on stage in order to perform the first 4 tenets of your individuality. In conclusion, Mercury in Cancer, in a very powerful way, is not only going to develop the psychic nature of your brain's ability to process information that is metaphysical outside of the physical and integrating it with the physical, but also add so much more depth and substance to how you communicate who you are and with who you communicate all of this to. Look forward to exciting synchronicities that establish more alignment with your inner and outer worlds, and also get excited for the direct evolution of the concept of psychic power and how you embody and make more personal this collective evolution that you express individually.